Councilmember Raymond, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening, Council is grateful to have Reverend Landon Adams, Director of New Membership at New Salem Baptist Church, to pray with us. Welcome back, brother.
Good evening. Let us pray. My Lord, the earth is yours and the fullness thereof. So this evening we come grateful for and to answer the call of service of governance and administration of city government. Cause this meeting agenda to ease well in the doing for the city of Columbus and disrupt anything that would bring harm to her people. To those who sit in service before us, may they know your love and affection, that they may govern from a place of compassion and conviction. May the work of this council feed those who are hungry, clothe those who are naked, and develop policies that cause those who live, work, and come to this city to be free from bondage, debt, and oppression. Now, my God, as many across our community begin the observance of Holy Week headed toward Easter, let us remember that resurrection does not negate the atrocities of this week to come. Rather, it brings us power to govern and create a reality where justice is administered rightly. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bankston, Barossa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorrance, Green, Remy, Ross, President Harden. Any person who takes any action to obstruct or interfere with the conduct of tonight's meeting may be charged with disturbing a lawful meeting pursuant to Columbus City Code 2317.12. Any person who enters those areas of city council chambers reserved for city officials or invited guests may be charged with criminal trespass pursuant to Columbus City Code 2311.21.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bankston, Barossa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorrance, Green, Remy, Ross, President Harden.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any additions or corrections to the journal? Hearing none, the journal is approved. This week's communication received by the City Clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the City Bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
Not at this time.
We'll go around the dais for updates and resolutions by my colleagues, starting with Councilmember Bankston.
Thank you, Council President. Just one resolution and one announcement this evening. And I have Resolution 057X-2026. And I would like to invite up Ms. Melissa Bila and our team and members of our Participatory Budgeting Steering Committee to the podium as I introduce that resolution, again, 0057X-2026. It is to recognize the work of the Participatory Budget Steering Committee. As you all around the dais are aware, late last year, an 18-member resident-led steering committee was established to create a framework for Columbus's pilot participatory budgeting process. This resolution that I am sponsoring tonight commends this group and our participatory budgeting coordinator, Ms. Melissa Bila, on a successful process which culminated with the series of recommendations that I will share at the April 29th public hearing. To refresh everyone's memory, participatory budgeting is a democratic process where community members directly decide how to spend part of a public budget, typically through brainstorming, proposal development, and voting. The Participatory Budget Steering Committee, supported by Melissa, played a vital leadership role in designing our proposed PB process, convincing to establish the goals, rules, procedures, and outreach strategy that will shape a fair, inclusive, and community-driven cycle. Through this, though this is phase one of a 5-phase process, I believe that this group of residents deserve to be acknowledged and celebrated for their leadership, service, and commitment to this novel process. Additionally, Melissa Bila, who has been a vital part of this process since the start, has concluded her temporary position here at City Council and will be starting graduate school this fall. So we also want to double celebrate her. As I'm going to have Miss Melissa come up to the front. and we'll start there and then have everyone introduce themselves. And just, I think as a reminder, because this seems like so long ago, you know, what spurred this was the 2025 capital budget, where this body was able, and we were able to secure $9 million for each, $1 million for each of the districts to go forward with this participatory budgeting process. Something that is historic for our city, something that is, I think, one of the most progressive things we've done from a budgeting standpoint as a city. But also, as these folks will probably tell you, you have a sidebar with them, one of the messiest processes that we have done. But we really wanted to be authentic. And when you think about the spirit of participatory budgeting, it is really, truly resident-driven. And these folks here know I didn't want to abandon them, but I came to their first kickoff meeting. I said, this will be the last time you actually see me, because I wanted them to understand that they were safe in that room, to have conversations, to have dialogue, to truly shape a process that will help shape our community. And so with that, before I pass for the resolution, I'm going to turn it over to our fearless leader in this work, Ms. Melissa Bila, who's going to go off to do great things. Want to introduce yourself, give some remarks, and then we'll have all of the committee members introduce themselves as well.
Thank you, Councilmember Bankston. Good afternoon, good evening, council members. Great to see you all and being here. I want to start by saying thank you to Councilmember Bankston for choosing me, and to Matt and JP for choosing me as an AmeriCorps member to lead this process. This was my first big girl job, so it was exciting and scary, but I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm also grateful to the steering committee. There were a great group, community members leading this process. They were there with me, being patient and supportive, leading this process, and they worked well together. They had passion, and they were driven to create a PB process that is meant for the community members, that will bring in equality and education, not only about participatory budgeting, but also about the city council and the budget. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I'll pass it on to the steering committee members. They'll just introduce themselves and just tell us what district that they represent. We'll start with Leah.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, council members. My name is Leo Rodriguez. I currently live in District 3. I'm super excited to be a part of this committee. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Smith Francois. I represent District 1, Linden specifically. But yes.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Tendiko Mopa Thomas, and I'm in District 8. I'm so honored to be here and appreciate everything that you did for us, Melissa.
Hello, everybody. I am Ronald Murray, and I am in District 9.
Good evening, everyone. Kristen Hasnight, District 2, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Nicole E. Harris, and I represent District 7. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sandra Harris, and I represent District 8.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jabika Sapkota, and I'm so happy to be a part of this, as especially the youth, and I represent District 1.
And wait, come back, you real quick, because I had a really great conversation with you. Tell us, one, how old you are and what school you go to.
I am 16 years old, and I go to Columbus Alternative High School, and this was definitely the biggest thing I've done in my high school career, and I'm so grateful for this because I got to grow a lot from my peers, who I'm very thankful for, because they haven't just helped me obtain more knowledge, but they've also helped me be more secure and more confident in myself and in my youth committee as well, and make sure I represent the youth as well. Thank you.
All right, go ahead and follow that one up.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Lawrence Orlaw Jackson. I represent District 6, and pleasure to be here. We thank you for the opportunity.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Shayana Hinkle-Moore, representing District 9. Very thankful to be here. Very thankful that we have Melissa guiding us through this.
Good evening, council members. My name is Irfan Elisha Akhundzada. It's not a name, it's a paragraph. And I'm representing District 3. Thank you for having me here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cynthia Engman, originally from Ghana in West Africa, and it's been a privilege to work with these astute leaders, and I'm privileged to be a part of this PB steering committee. Thank you.
Well, thank you again to you all for all the work that you put in. I know we have some folks that couldn't be here with us today, but what I can just say is what you have provided for us is invaluable. They have produced recommendations in a guidebook that will guide us through the rest of the participatory budgeting process. And I'm just thankful for them. I told them that they are the guinea pig in all of this and have allowed us to work together in this experiment. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much for the work that you do. This is a great reflection of the beauty of our city from all across corners of our city, from all across corners of our globe, from all age ranges. This is what Columbus is. And when we talk about how do we invest in our neighborhoods and invest in our future, it has to include everyone's voice and a process. And Ms. Comfort just got here, so I'm gonna let Ms. Comfort come on up. Come on up, Ms. Comfort, come on. You serious? No, I'm serious. You popped in. You can't say, everybody else said where they from. Name and district.
I'm sorry?
Your name and what district you live in.
So, right here, look, right here. Oh, you said come up. I thought there were steps. Yes, sir.
So your name and what district you live in, Ms. Comfort?
My name is Comfort Cole Kenner. I'm in District 5, and pleased to be here and participating in this wonderful program. I hope we put some real good things down so the next group will say they did well.
Thank you, Ms. Comfort.
You didn't ask for all that, I know.
And you know, Ms. Comfort is trying to get me to switch over and say that Liberian jollof rice is the best jollof rice, but we all know that it's from Ghana. So before I move for passage,
We're going to bring it for all of you to try and make that decision yourself.
I love that.
we're going to have the jollof rice wars, okay? Before I move for adoption, I'm going to open it up to my colleagues for any comments. Councilmember Rosa de Padilla.
Yes, so first I want to start off by thanking Melissa. I also am an AmeriCorps alum, and I just want to highlight this is the amazing work that AmeriCorps alums of all ages do. You know, AmeriCorps members do all types of different service, and this was a very different service period for you, but thank you for all of your contributions. I think it was my first big girl job too, which led to this real big girl job, so you're on the right track. I also just want to say thank you to all of you. I don't want to say a special thank you to my District 8 people, but special thank you to my District 8 people. But I do want to say, you know, I think thank you for your leadership, Councilmember Bankston. I think the more that we can have, we can bring and open up government to the people, right? So it's not just you're coming to vote, but that you actually, your voices are being heard, not just at times when it's a zoning issue or something that's happening in your neighborhood that you may not like or you may like, but you can also talk about how we spend our dollars. Because all of you are investors in this city. And so by being an investor, sometimes it feels like you're a silent investor, right? Like things are just happening. But for you to be able to say, even if it's just a portion of the budget, this is what we think it should go to, right? This is how we think we should spend it. This is where we should make these investments collectively, and to sit down, people from all parts of the city to be proximate to each other in a way that people are not doing today. To say that we love our city, we love our neighborhoods, and this is how we want to invest it is something extremely special. So I'm so excited about this process and how it will continue to unfold. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being part of this. Also, I just want to also mention that none of these folks, I mean, some of you, this might be your first time, but I know we'll see you back here. But I know that many of you are already involved in your communities, whether it's your specific community, whether you're serving the community through your organization. So thank you for your continued leadership. And for those of you who this is the first time you raised your hand, let it not be your last. So thank you.
All right. And with that, again, looking forward to the work that you all are going to inspire in our community. And thank you again for everything you've done to this point. With that, I'll move for adoption. Oh, Councilmember Ross? Oh, okay. There you go. I move for adoption.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Adopted.
Thank you, thank you. And again, we will have more announcements, but the first public hearing that we'll have on this is April 29th to discuss more of the details of the work that the committee did. Then one final announcement, council member, as we get to say goodbye to Melissa Bila, we are also saying goodbye to another dedicated public servant, my partner in good, who has been our fearless leader of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, Jason Jenkins. Let's give him a round of applause. Very bittersweet moment for me as someone who I consider a friend, a peer, a mentor really in this work, and someone who has driven, I think, the vision that I have been able to try to capture around our small business. He's been someone that's, I think, taken a true spirit of collaboration, working across departments, working in community, and now someone who's taken that skill set to my alma mater, the best university in all of the global planet, The Ohio State University. And it's so great we had to put the D in front of it just so you knew. But really, I just want to say to you, Jason, thank you for your service. Thank you for doing the behind the scenes and the hard work as well as the hard work. And I know that those skills will be vitally used at The Ohio State University and will continue to serve this community, but just in a different capacity. But wanted to not let this moment go by without saying thank you, thank you, thank you. When I think about how we have moved, how this city has invested its money under your leadership, moving to a place where we spend, I think it's 4 times more than when you started in minority spend in our community. And that's not simply a handout, that's really a hand up, because your team works directly with those folks to get them to be prepared and ready to do business with the city. And so many other innovative things that you have put in the pipeline that we will finish. But I just wanted to say to you, thank you, my brother, for your partnership. Thank you for your leadership, and wishing you well in your next endeavor. Before I open it up to Director Jenkins, he doesn't know that I was going to do this, so I'm actually putting him on the spot and embarrassing him. Are there any other comments from my colleagues? Madam Vice Chair.
Yes, so Director Jenkins, I just want to thank you. Even before, as a new council member, you were in the mayor's office, and I think you made the transition and building kind of bridges between the administration and council certainly easy for me. I think being on this committee, the work that we've done together around, also engaging our Latino population, also engaging our new Americans, engaging immigrants and refugees in the process, and ensuring, they're some of the highest entrepreneurial rates are in those communities, and ensuring that they knew their city stood with them. You are such a caring, loving leader, and I think that has shown in everything that you have done since you've been at the city, both with your personal relationships, but certainly your love for community and how you have invested in people. And that's, I can say this with lots of confidence that you're everyone's favorite. So thank you for being everyone's favorite. You will be sorely, sorely missed. But you have left a lasting impression on the city that I know that you love so much, and on all the people that you have worked with. I was talking to your staff the other day, and they were talking about how devastated they were, as the rest of us are. But this is what we always say with good people, that we have good people here that then we put out into the world to continue to do good work. And so I'm excited about our partnership together with The Ohio State University and the work that we'll continue to do together. So thank you. Congratulations.
President Pro Tem Dorance.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to be brief, but so much of local government is solving problems, small, medium, and large, depending on what the day is. And I've said this to you many times, you're like Mr. Fix-It when it comes to all those things. And residents have no idea how much you have shaped this city by solving small, medium, and large problems, sometimes dozens of them in the same week. And it has been an absolute pleasure to work with you and have an opportunity to become friends. And local governments and government generally needs more Jason Jenkins in them. And I am deeply grateful that you chose to spend a lot of years solving problems with me and other members of this council, and are just deeply grateful for that. So good luck, but we know you're not going far.
Are you saying something?
Councilmember Ross?
Okay, first of all, you need to make an announcement because now I'm all choked up and I didn't plan to be choked up. I too want to say thank you to Jason. I think Councilmember Dorrance hit the nail on the head. He is one of the great fixers of this city, has always been on the other side of a call, has always been boots on the ground in crisis. There's not a crisis that I haven't been involved in that you also have not been involved in, and so thank you. Also, thank you for keeping yourself safe. There's some of the most violent neighborhoods I've dealt with. I would call Jason, he'd be like, oh yeah, I'm over here on the stoop. Why? Why are you over there? Please leave there now. But thank you just for being a man of the people. Thank you for bringing people perspective to your work. Thank you for always being a real one. Thank you for being who you are, showing up as you are in your full authenticity. We will deeply, deeply miss you here at the city, but I can't wait to see all the great things that you will do.
This city owes you a debt of gratitude for what you've been able to accomplish. I remember you and Elon coming to visit me before I ever got on the council as president of the Northland Community Council, and just the work that you do. I think the biggest thing that I recognize about you is it's real talk. And the community knows to go to you because you give them real talk. We know to go to you because you give us real talk. So we appreciate all that you've done and the contributions that you've made. The Ohio State University is getting a great asset, and we will sorely miss you. But thankfully, you're right around the corner, so I'll see you around.
One thing I'll add, in addition to a yes to everything everyone has said, is, I talk about how policy moves at the speed of trust. And I know people will find this hard to believe, but you can't always trust everybody in this business. But I could always trust you. I could always trust that you were coming to the table with a real sincerity to address issues, to solve problems, to be truthful and transparent about challenges that we were overcoming. To be honest, when you disagree, and why, and that's important too. And man, I'm going to miss you so much in this role and here across the city, but I'm just so grateful to have had the opportunity to work with you for so many, many years.
I guess the final thanks comes from the Columbus Kid Caucus at City Council. Tierra was hitting on it best in terms of my feelings for you, Jason. A lot of people get titles and get positions and forget where they came from. You got titles and positions, and you made sure no one had to doubt where you came from. The way that you have represented your people and your community, our people and our community, is unparalleled. And so just thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There is a gap now here at the city because you are moving on. Do well, brother.
And with that, Director Jenkins, if there's any remarks you want to give in that final last baritone, very white voice that you do inside the microphone.
Thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure to serve. I appreciate the time that y'all have given me to support my community, and I'm not going to stop. So thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, I think that's the shortest I've seen. Well, anyway, congratulations, Director Jenkins, and looking forward to continue to partner with you And with that, Council President, that's all I have.
Sir, thank you. Councilmember Rosa de Padilla.
Councilmember Ross, I have handed down the illustrious title of being the Michael Jordan crying meme of council to you. You carry it well.
You mean the goat? Or? Oh, okay.
So last week, last week on Thursday, March 26th, was Women's Equal Pay Day. It is the day that symbolizes how far into the calendar year that women need to work to earn as much as their white, non-Hispanic male counterparts. And on that same day, I hosted a Women's Work, which is my annual event, the 4th annual Women's Work event, where we celebrated entrepreneurship. Female entrepreneurs are some of the fastest growing entrepreneurs in the sector, and we had 3 of them who gave small TED Talks. We also had a host of resources for women entrepreneurs that were there. We also hosted female entrepreneur businesses. We had about 200 people that joined us for what I like to call the best girls' night out. So I want to thank everyone who came out. I wanted to acknowledge Equal Pay Day. And throughout this year, as we wind down Women's History Month, we will continue to acknowledge Equal Pay Day, both for Black women, for moms, for Latinas, and for Native American women that essentially go in that order. So I want to thank everyone for coming out. I want to thank my colleagues for also supporting me. And I want to, in the last few days of Women's History Month, I just want to encourage folks to go out and support women-owned businesses, continue to support women's causes, and continue to support your favorite female leaders, because especially at a time like now, where it feels like we have overcome many things to get to this point, it feels like some of those things are starting to move in the wrong direction. Equal Pay Day for women is actually further into the year, marking the 2nd year in a row that the pay gap is getting larger instead of smaller. So that is just an acknowledgement of facts and also more fuel to continue to fight for women, because when women succeed, everyone succeeds. So thank you and happy Women's History Month.
Thank you. Councilmember Day Alcar.
Thank you, Council President. First, I will be hosting a public hearing on the proposed amendment to the Big Darby Accord on April 7th at 5:30 p.m. here in Council Chambers. Council will hear a presentation from the Department of Development on the Accord amendment process so far, a recap of community engagement efforts, and an overview of the enhanced environmental protections, robust water quality testing, and development restrictions in the proposed amendment and how it compares to the original 2006 Accord. Those interested can read the draft amendment ahead of the hearing on the Big Darby Accord website by scanning the QR code on the screen now. And all who wish to submit written testimony or would like to sign up to provide public testimony at the hearing can email my aide, Jacob Dilley, at jadilley@columbus.gov by noon on the 7th. Additionally, this evening we will be passing a resolution on consent honoring the life and sacrifice of Master Sergeant Tyler Simmons. We will not be presenting it to the family this evening. We have arranged for that to be presented at the funeral. For residents of Columbus who would like to pay their respects, we will be honoring the Master Sergeant at City Council's Memorial Day service. That is on Memorial Day at 1 p.m. at the Linden War Memorial, which is located in the park adjacent to the Linden Community Center. There will be announcements about that event when that gets closer. And that's all for me this evening.
Thank you so much for your leadership on this resolution for Tyler Simmons. President Pro Tem. Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Council President. One quick announcement before I introduce our one resolution tonight is about the incredible work of Recreation and Parks and a collaboration with Columbus Public Health. They'll be hosting a Camp Public Health this summer. So for those that are interested in learning all about the ever-evolving world of public health and all of the incredible work that we do that spans many diverse areas, please check that out at their website. Finally, we do have one resolution on the agenda tonight. And while I read this resolution, I would love to invite our distinguished guest, Sandy Stevenson, and her family, and I know Bill, Governor Strickland, Wendy Williams up to the podium. And while you make your way, it is my honor to present Resolution 0072X-2026, recognizing Sandra or Sandy Stevenson for a lifetime of distinguished service in honor of Women's History Month and National Social Work Month. So March is both Women's History Month and National Social Work Month. So it is by far my favorite month of the year. And every month every year we have worked to sort of highlight and feature people or organizations that are kind of touching both of those areas. And it is a real privilege for me tonight to be able to recognize somebody who has been such an inspiration to me and such a change maker across our community, someone whose leadership and mentorship has shaped not just the way that we support people across our community, but also has helped to guide the careers and the lives of so many people who I know are working to uplift it. A few words about Sandy. She has been doing this work across our community for more than 4 decades, and she's been a driving force in advancing behavioral health care access across Ohio and working to strengthen our community-based services and expand access for care for people across the state of Ohio. Most notably, she's always just been guided by this belief that every single person in our community deserves dignity, compassion, and an opportunity to heal. Her leadership has also extended to the highest levels of state government when she was appointed by Governor Ted Strickland, who's here with us tonight, to serve as director of the Ohio Department of Mental Health and as a member of his cabinet. And, I think that your work across ODMH and beyond has led to just such broad sweeping systems change across our community that has really transformed the landscape of the way that we're able to support individuals that are living with substance use challenges, with mental health hardships. You've been an early pioneer in advancing coordinated care approaches across our state, and so much so that now these things are just all widely accepted as the best practices of the way that we support people. At the local level, you should know that Sandy's advocacy has been at the forefront of so many movements that have transformed our systems of care here in Central Ohio, things that many of us now take for granted. You helped found Choices for victims of domestic violence, an organization that we most certainly rely on every single day, helped grow the Columbus Coalition for the Homeless, and it was in many ways your advocacy and commitment that led to the founding of Vista Village, a program that we have invested and partnered with you to help move forward. And I said this earlier today during our reception, your impact, it reaches so far beyond just the policies and the programs that you have helped to establish. I think that your leadership has demonstrated to people like me and so many others that social workers, that people in human services, that we have a place at the decision-making tables too. That we aren't just helpers, we're policy makers, we're system changers. And I think that's so important. And so I can definitely say, I think without your example, I would not be sitting up here today. And so at this point in time, I would love to turn it over. Actually, Governor Strickland, could we have you say a few words about Sandy and her time serving in your cabinet? Yes.
Mr. President and council members, I'm pleased to be here to honor one of my favorite people on the face of God's earth. I've known Sandy since 1981. I've known her as a tenacious advocate for the least among us, for the most vulnerable among us, for the homeless, for the mentally ill. And so when I became governor, it was a no-brainer that I would ask her to be my director of the Department of Mental Health. I'm just pleased to be here with her tonight to share with her, her family, and her many colleagues, and saying to you that there are people living today that I think would not have been living were it not for Sandy Stevenson. And I'm just proud to be her friend. Thank you.
Thank you. It's quite an endorsement. So Sandy, at this point in time, before we open it up to the floor, I'd love to turn it over to you to say a few words. And again, we're just so grateful to be able to honor you and recognize you for all of the incredible work you've done across our community for so long.
Council President Hardin, Council Member Green, and other council members. I made my comments earlier at a gathering, so rather than repeating those comments, I want to thank all of you for the work you do. Work isn't work when we're in service to people. It's a privilege to be able to commit to efforts that help our community and help people, and that's what all of you do. That's what you think about before you go to bed. It's probably what wakes you up in the middle of the night sometime when you realize some other things you want to do. And I just want to quickly comment on a couple of things you've recently done that said Columbus, Ohio stands for something because of you and your work. You stand up for what's right. You provided funding, new funding for the CORE program recently that allows the organization I'm with, Southeast and Maryhaven, to do something really different with the folks on the streets of Columbus who are causing excessive use of police time and EMT time because nobody has been able to connect with them and make a difference. So our challenge that we gratefully accepted is to connect and make a difference over the course of time and to work differently. I also want to comment on your focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. As you know, across the country, there has to be a walking away from that because of different orders coming down from the federal government. Not because people want to, but because they want to keep their money so they can keep on providing services, and you've stood firm on that. That was evident tonight again. Those are positive words, and those are things we should all cling to and do, and you're doing that. And I also want to thank you for taking care of our sanctuary city by making it very clear that we have expectations in Columbus, Ohio, about how people will be treated. So thank you for what you do.
I think that everything you just said represents the true deep servant leadership of how you have lived your entire life of service when given a recognition and the opportunity to say a few words about all of the incredible work that you've been able to accomplish. You point to us. And also, that is an encouragement as well to continue down this path and to keep going forward. And I just, and you inspire me every day. And I'm just so grateful to you. So at this point in time, I'd love to open it up to my colleagues to say any words.
I just want to say thank you. I think, whenever I see women who were able to break down barriers, were able to lead in their particular professions, especially as we talk about Women's History Month, when I look at the women who were able to achieve the things that they were able to do, the Women's Caucus wouldn't be here without women like you. And without women who, at different points in your career, you reached back to help another woman, that you set a gold standard, that you helped to bring people along. And I think that is the true hallmark of a woman leader, right? That's what I think differentiates us. And so I want to thank you for the intentionality of your work. I want to thank you also for your words. I think, it's challenging at a time like this to sometimes feel like you're doing the right thing, but sometimes the voices telling you you're not are sometimes louder than the people who are always standing with you. And so to hear that reminder is always good. So I want to thank you for that. And just, you continue to lead a life of leadership and of giving and of servant leadership. And I think the point that you made around this is not work, it is a privilege. It is a privilege to be a voice for people. It is a privilege to think about them and to think about the decisions and how to make their lives better every day. And so thank you for setting that standard, and thank you for continuing to do that work.
Okay, well, seeing no other comments or questions, with that, I move for adoption.
Second.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Adopted.
That's all for me tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Remy.
Nothing from me.
Councilmember Ross.
Thank you, Council President. Just one announcement and one resolution this evening. The announcement is my office will be having our second listening session in the community on April 7th. We will be at the Fran Ryan Center from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. This listening session will be focused on our seniors, talking about barriers into housing, talking about barriers into meeting their basic needs. And so I'm really excited to bring together a group of seniors so really we can just hear and listen from the community. So if you are a senior, a service provider, or someone who just wants to be a part of this work, we welcome you to our listening session. Again, it's April 7th from 12 o'clock to 2 p.m. at the Fran Ryan Center. And then we've got resolution number 0071X-2026 to recognize and honor Paul Sauer on his retirement from the City of Columbus Department of Building and Zoning Services after 25 years of service and leadership. And so if I could have Paul Sauer come up, our resident cowboy. And if the army of code officers and building and zoning inspectors could stand up with him. He is here with an army of supporters. He is also here with his 95-year-old mother who is with us. We are honored to have her today with his wife, Laura. Let me read my speech, Paul. Don't cry, okay? Paul Sauer has dedicated 29 years of service to the betterment of our community, having begun his career as a code enforcement officer on March 31st, 1997. He spent 21 years in the Franklinton area serving the community through inspections and enforcement of housing, zoning, environmental health, and nuisance abatement city code sections. On December 30th, 2018, he transitioned to the role of code enforcement specialist for the environmental blight abatement section, where he has continued to make significant contributions. Paul Sauer has played a pivotal role in the abatement of environmental blight by overseeing the boarding up of thousands of vacant structures, drug houses, averaging 650 per year, ensuring the safety and security of our neighborhoods. Paul coordinated hundreds of court-ordered cleanups, resulting in the restoration of community pride and improving public health. And under his guidance, his team successfully cleaned and mowed over 3,212 properties and removed and disposed of over 4,000 tires from both
public and private properties and right-of-way areas, significantly contributing to a cleaner and safer environment. Paul's unwavering commitment to environmental stewardship and community safety has set a standard for excellence and inspired countless individuals to act in preserving our environment. Members of council want to recognize, commend, and celebrate Paul Sauer for his exemplary service and dedication. I want to express my deepest gratitude for the positive impact Paul has made in our community and wish him a fulfilling retirement filled with joy and relaxation alongside his wife, Laura, and also welcome his 95-year-old mother to council. You have an exceptional son. I started my career, Paul Sauer gave me a ride from the east side of Columbus to a place called Beechwood Market, and it was my first ever nuisance property that we took care of, and I thought it might be my last. That's how fast Paul was driving me to that board up. But Paul has always answered the call, always been a support to me and my work here at the City of Columbus, and I am so proud and honored to be able to recognize you today. Before we give you a moment to speak and before I give my colleagues a moment to speak, Director Messer from the Department of Building and Zoning Services would like to say a few words.
Yes, thanks, Councilmember Ross, President Harden, other members of council. On a night where we're apparently celebrating a lot of public service, I think it's so fitting to acknowledge a whole lifetime that Paul has given. You had a great amount of statistics there, but it's almost impossible to really measure the impact that a lifetime public servant has. And I think it's incredibly fitting that we're talking about someone who really has been on the front lines as a code enforcement officer, taking care of blight and other things around the city, driving the Bobcat himself, doing everything that he can do hands-on, always been a hands-on leader. I know even on days off, calling in to check on his crew, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. Really one of those true public servants who just can't stop, who just wants to serve and is always has a servant heart and a leader that I look up to for all that he has accomplished during his entire lifetime. So I really want to say thank you, Paul, to you and your family that's here. Thank you for all you've done for the city. Like I said, it's hard for us to capture in a list of accomplishments or statistics what you've really accomplished and the impact you've had week after week after week after month after year. So thank you.
Thank you, Director. Paul, you got some words for us?
Thank you all for making a big deal of this. I really want to thank of course, my mother, my wonderful wife, Laura, and all my coworkers in code enforcement. It was a great experience. The last 9 years with my coworkers in EBA, Dan Copley, Perry, and Cliff Stallworth back here. We were a team. People would say I was the supervisor. I would tell them I just take the attendance. We're all part of the program here. But I appreciate everything from everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I am honored to have co-sponsored this resolution with my colleague, Councilmember Melissa Green, so I'll give you a few moments to make comment, and then we'll open it up to the rest of the Ds.
Can you hear me? For those of you sitting up here who might not know the legend who is Paul Sauer, that is by design. He has been the best kept secret in Columbus, the person that when there is a problem, we talked about Director Jenkins, when you have a problem you need to solve, like a policy problem, he's your go-to guy to fix it. But when there is a physical problem somewhere across our city for which there is no solution, you better call Paul. He's gonna take care of it for you. And for years, how the cable companies, they cut down. I mean, I heard stories of, back in the 90s or, however long it was, Paul Sauer and David Huey up on a ladder cutting all the cable lines that they just cut and let dangle in our alleys. I mean, like literally any problem that you could think of, Paul is a person that is there to solve it and has always been there to solve it. And I don't know who's going to solve our problems now, but y'all better figure that out pretty quick, or else we're going to be in really tough shape. Paul's also a guy that when your moped's broken down and you can't get it to move, you call him too, and he'll show up for that as well. It's just a person that emulates like the best of what Columbus is, a person that is fun and kind and always there to care for the people around him. And I feel so grateful to have known you for so many years, to have gotten to go on so many fun adventures, drink lots of sippies, and I'm sure the team here is going to miss that so much. So thank you, and congratulations on making it out of here.
Thank you, council member. Any other comment from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bankston, Barosa.
Call.
Wait. Bankston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Adopted.
Yes, love the hats. Thanks. Thank you.
That is it for me.
Thank you, council member. I don't have any resolutions, but I do just have one hearing that I'm hosting a juvenile safety hearing alongside Public Safety Chair and Vice Chair Remy and Ross this Thursday, April 2nd at 2 p.m. here in council chambers. We plan to discuss how to keep our young people safe in and out of school. We'll discuss tools and recommendations to make sure we address issues that might arise with crime and truancy. So we want to invite folks out to that public hearing and to participate. Are there any comments from our elected officials? Thank you, Madam Auditor. Are there any? Are there any requests by members of council for the removal of an ordinance or resolution on consent portion of the agenda? Seeing none, may we now have a motion to waive the readings of titles of third-day legislation by the city clerk? Is there a second? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bankston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Will the clerk now read into the record ordinance number of third-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
In Finance and Governance Committee, we have ordinance 823 and 871-2026, Economic Development and Small and Minority Business, ordinances 845, 890, 892, and 894-2026. Public Service and Transportation Committee, ordinance 825 and 830-2026. Neighborhoods, Recreation, and Parks Committee, ordinance 672 and 675-2026. Public Utilities and Sustainability Committee, ordinances 516, 521, 535, 592, 613, 648, 703, 781, 840, 844, and 866-2026.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We don't have the speakers on the first reading. The following ordinance appear on our agenda as consent. Would the clerk now read those into the record?
Resolutions of expression, we have Resolution 73X-2026, Finance and Governance Committee, ordinance 2575-2025, ordinance 506, 508, 517, 530, 620, 706, 755, 757, 778, 843, 869, 883, and 903-2026. Economic Development and Smaller Minority Business Committee, ordinance 637, 768, 776, 804, 810, 811, 812, and 879-2026. Public Service and Transportation Committee, ordinance 639, 654, 692, 722, 747, 760, 761, 770, 9 and 918-2026. Neighborhoods, Recreation, and Parks Committee, ordinance 671, 676, 678, 680, and 681-2026. Workforce, Education, and Labor Committee, ordinances 710, 783, and 886-2026. Health, Human Services, and Equity Committee, ordinances 548 and 549-2026. Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee, ordinance 877-2026. Housing, Homelessness, and Building Committee, ordinances 837, 910-2026. Public Utilities and Sustainability Committee, ordinances 179, 379, 460, 473, 563, 606, 667, 719, 720, 765, 816, and 870-2026. Appointments, we have A67, A68, A69, A70, A71, A72, A73, A74, A75, and A76-2026.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any questions or comments on the consent portion of the agenda? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve these items designated as consent? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Consent agenda is passed. We'll now proceed with the second reading of 30-day postponed and emergency legislation.
Yes, there is one abstention. We'll call it by voice.
May I have a motion to reconsider? Clerk,
Yep.
please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
We are reconsidering now. Can I have a motion for approval of these items designated as consent by voice? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston. Yes. Barosa de Padilla. Yes. De Akauer. Dorance. Yes. Green.
Yes, with the exception of ordinance 0654-2026, from which I abstain.
Remy. Yes. Ross.
Yes.
President Harden.
Yes, consent agenda carries with a noted exception. We'll now proceed with the second reading of 30-day postponed and emergency legislation. The first committee to come before council is the Finance and Governance Committee, chaired by Councilmember Bankston. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President Harden. First up tonight in the Finance and Governance Committee for second read, we have ordinance 0652-2026 to authorize the city attorney to modify and extend the existing contract with Dayforce US Inc. for the renewal of the Dayforce software subscription, software, hardware, and services to authorize expenditure of $2,400,000 from the Department of Technology Operating Fund to authorize the expenditure of $80,000 from the Employee Benefit Fund. This ordinance modifies and extends our existing 3-year contract with Dayforce US Inc. for the continued use of the Dayforce platform. The current contract for these services was authorized in 2023 for a 3-year period and is set to expire this September. This modification will establish a 3-year extended agreement with pricing and services subject to annual authorization and appropriation from council. The pricing agreement would establish caps on any annual price increases of 0% for subscription fees in year 1 of the new term and no more than 2% in each of years 2 and 3. It includes licensing, hosting, maintenance, support fees, and professional services for the Dayforce system and time clocks manufactured by Dayforce US Inc. for the enterprise-wide benefits, administration, payroll, personnel management, and the employee self-service system. The contract includes the renewal of software subscription services as well as ongoing support, hardware, and related services necessary for system functionality. Continuity of this system is essential to ensure accurate payroll processing benefits, payroll processing, benefits management, and compliance with reporting requirements. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you, Council President. That is the first and last thing that I have in my committees this evening. Next committee.
Next committee coming for council. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next committee coming for council, the Public Service and Transportation Committee, chaired by Councilmember Barosa de Padilla.
Thank you, Council.
Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you, Council President. So this evening in Public Service and Transportation, we have 3 pieces of legislation, and I'm very, very excited. All pieces of legislation this evening directly connect with our Vision Zero plan, directly connect with really combating some of those infrastructure issues that we have had along the high injury network. And so for each of them, I'm going to share some highlights as we talk about what the legislation means, and then Director, I'm probably going to kick it over to you a couple times. So first piece of legislation is 0448-2026 to amend the 2026 capital improvement budget to authorize a transfer of funds within the Streets and Highways Bond Fund to appropriate funds from the Street and Highway Improvement Fund to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract modification with Orchard Hills and McClimate Incorporated, doing business as OHM Advisors, in connection with the roadway Livingston Avenue, Alum Creek Trail to James Road project, and to authorize the expenditure of up to $1,043,333 from the Streets and Highways Bond Fund and the Street and Highway Improvement Fund to pay for the project. This project is on the Vision Zero Columbus high injury network due to the number of serious or fatal crashes involving vulnerable roadway users like people walking, cycling, or scooting. This project will bring important upgrades like shared use path, better traffic signals, improved street lighting design to enhance safety for all roadway users along Livingston Avenue from Alum Creek Trail to James Road by improving visibility and physically separating pedestrians and cyclists from vehicle traffic. This project is also in partnership with the City of Bexley. So I have to say, as a lifelong East Sider, these are the streets that I drive quite literally every day. James Road is the barrier of borders my community. And I know that we've made significant improvements on James Road and Livingston Avenue, but Director, can you talk a little bit more about what these roadway improvements will bring?
Good evening, President Hardin, Chair Barosa de Padilla, and other members of council. This is a pretty exciting project. This is a project that this is the long-term phase of a project that we've had underway for several years now. We did some short-term improvements because people were literally running into houses on Livingston Avenue and something had to be done immediately. So we did some roadway modifications. This improves the roadway modifications, puts some medians out there to beef up our lane reallocation project, and as you said, it does add a shared use path to the south side and a wider sidewalk to the north side.
So that's very exciting, especially for folks who have lived along James Road. As James Road used to be one way in each direction, we've widened it to 2 lanes in each direction. We did a road diet on Livingston Avenue, added some barriers at the intersection of Broad and James. See, I told you, I know this area because this is my neighborhood. So I'm very, very excited. I also want to just again thank the folks in Bexley because they have been, this is the border of Bexley and Columbus, depending upon where you're talking about. And so they've been a great partner in this project as well. So I just want to thank the department first and foremost as a resident, and secondly as the chair of this committee. So do my colleagues have any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorrance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 0628-2026 to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a professional services contract with Burgess and Kneippel Incorporated for the roadway improvements, multimodal engagement and planning 2026 project, and to authorize the expenditure of up to $300,000 from the Mobility Operating Fund to pay for this project. The goal of this project is to provide the Department of Public Service with funds to carry out engineering, surveying, and technical work for the multimodal engagement and planning 2026 project. This effort focuses on evaluating select streets and corridors across the city and developing designs that better meet current mobility needs. The work may include traffic and parking analysis, bikeway planning, transit considerations, and improvements to pedestrian infrastructure. It can also involve placemaking, public art, and even testing ideas through quick build or pilot projects before full implementation. Ultimately, the goal is to improve how people move through our city and create safer, more connected, and more vibrant streets for everyone. So this is around a lot of our planning that we do for infrastructure improvements, a lot of our analysis. Is there anything that you want to add to that, Director?
Good evening again, President Harden, Chair Barroso de Padilla, members of council. This new version of the contract is intended to put an even greater emphasis on the earlier stages of planning and engagement with the public and our residents, as opposed to engineering and design services. But I will say that this will include preliminary design services and traffic analysis as well. But there's a lot of emphasis being put on the early planning and engagement.
That's great. And this, again, is a lot of, when we talk about roadway projects, that analysis and that data really helps us make those decisions. So as we're looking at different corridors and different improvements, this is really the information that we take to help in that decision-making process. So do my colleagues have additional questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Next and last, we have ordinance 0712-2026 to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract modification with Ribway Engineering Group Incorporated in connection with the Bikeway McNaughton Road Main Street to Broad Street project to authorize the expenditure of up to $900,000 from the Streets and Highways Bond Fund to pay for the project and to declare an emergency. This project is located in a Vision Zero community of interest. This ordinance authorizes the Director of Public Service to modify the contract to add additional funds for detailed design services and continue right-of-way design. The project will improve connectivity, safety, and mobility for people walking and biking along McNaughton Road. This project provides additional design resources to install a shared-use path along McNaughton connecting to a separate city project extending to East Broad Street. A sidewalk will be added on the opposite side to connect residents to bus stops, along with some improved crosswalks. The project may include roadway widening to turn lanes, new street lighting, and new curbs. So this is only a portion of a $11.5 million project. And for my colleagues, I just want to remind us, so in 2024, there was a McNaughton zoning that we looked at. It was about 300 apartments that we had around 100 residents who came in who were doing outreach to council. And one of the things that we talk about, and we talk about this often in zoning, is that we were going to do roadway improvements. And so we understood that this is, first of all, at one time, this was a rural road. It has pieces of the road that are difficult, right? There were some ditches, there were some other things that were happening that made it difficult for us to address those. So I wanted to point this out because many times in zoning, we talk about with zoning comes different opportunities. Either it's already something that's in the pipeline or additional resources will come. So because of the project that's coming into McNaughton, we're already building sidewalks. And then because of a larger project that we already had, both at the intersection of Broad and McNaughton, at the intersection of Main and McNaughton, we are also looking at improvements down McNaughton, including that shared use path and the turn lane. So Director, is there anything that you want to add to what else folks can expect?
Good evening again. One thing I will add is that one of the most compelling reasons for us to do this Vision Zero safety project is because there was a child killed. Her name was Elizabeth Lizzie Robertson Rutland. She was 11 years old, and she was killed on this roadway as she was getting ready to get onto a school bus one early morning several years ago. And so that's a compelling reason for us to do these type of projects. It's very unfortunate, but it is one thing we wanted to mention, that we do this in honor of her.
No, and thank you. Shady Lane Elementary School is right off of McNaughton, and this was one of the things that many residents were concerned with because, like many of our roads, I mean, I think about Barnett. Barnett is a very similar road on the east side that has those ditches that is difficult and tricky for us to understand or for us to think about that infrastructure improvement. And as we're thinking about how the city grows and changes and how we're thinking about infrastructure to make things safer for everyone, this is just an example of that. And so I want to just discuss the timeline and check my work and make sure that I've got this right. But so $11.5 million will be spent on the project. We're looking at land acquisition in this year and leading into 27 with some work being done, but then groundwork being done in 28 and then leading up until 31 that we think the entirety of all pieces of this project will be done. Is that correct, Director?
That is correct. This is a part of a much larger project. There's a phase 2 that is going to be done with the Link Us transit supportive infrastructure that will run from East Main Street south to Livingston. So there will be eventually a shared use path continuously down McNaughton from Broad all the way to Livingston.
Thank you. And I just, again, wanted to highlight this because as we're having conversations, it's easy to get lost in one conversation. The timeline, I know, is one that I wish that we could all make move faster, but it's hard when you're moving infrastructure, especially ensuring that people can still move on a very busy corridor like McNaughton and on Broad and on James, Broad and Main. And so, I just wanted to ensure that we can connect the dots when we have the conversations that sometimes we have when people are really worried about what that infrastructure looks like, that this was coming, that we made a promise to the community, that I wanted folks to see that this is a part of it. This is, again, just the planning piece, but that more is yet to come, and we talked about what that timeline is. So I just, again, want to thank the department because as we work on, continue to work on Vision Zero, it is not easy. We do not always, those infrastructure changes takes a lot of time, takes a lot of resources, and you wanted to add something.
Yeah, you're right. This project is tough. McNaughton Road is one of the most challenging roads for us to put this type of facility on. That's why it's expensive, and that's why it's time consuming. It's going to take us some time to get it out there. But, the work is needed. These arterials that have so much traffic, yet pedestrians and vulnerable users on there, it's needed. So I appreciate the support. And as you said, construction in 28 on this piece.
And I think the last thing I'll say is that I just want to also hope that residents see that, while it takes time and it'll take us some time to figure it out, it's almost no road is impossible, right? We can look at these infrastructure changes because I know folks thought because of the ditches, because of those retainers, that a sidewalk was not possible here, and we're proving that it is. And even though, again, the timeline is not what folks hope it would be, I know that this road is going to be safer, and especially for those kids and those neighbors and those families who travel along this corridor, it's going to look and feel very, very different for them. So I wanted to open up to my colleagues if they have any questions or comments. Yes, Councilmember Green.
Now I know why your comments in our zoning committee meeting a couple weeks ago were so very specific related to these retainers. Chair, I just want to thank you. I feel like I'm always, as it relates to the West Side, talking about like the infrastructure improvements that are needed. And I'm so excited, Director, also, I really want to thank you and your team. I get really, really excited. This is the stuff that is so important to our residents. It's so important for our kids and our families. And it's the stuff that people see and they feel. It directly touches their lives every single day. And I absolutely am so excited every time I get it, we get a project like this where it's like really proactive planning, and working to do these important, sidewalks not always like the most exciting thing, you know what I mean? But
it's the thing that everyone wants.
Yeah, it's so important. It's so important. And so I love to hear it. I love to see it. And I'm excited to support this work. And thank you. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
And same to you, Director.
Any other comments? So again, I just want to thank the department because as we continue, and I say this probably in every zoning hearing, Chair Dorns, we talk about this often. I think our infrastructure growth does not match our people growth. People move a lot easier than roadways and construction and everything that we're trying to do. And so as we are kind of catching up, we've put in all of these different strategies that people can start to feel and see in the immediate as the longer term strategies come. And so I do want to credit the department with the work that we're doing. And when we have these opportunities, I appreciate you all giving me the time to just demonstrate how we are showing up for community, how we are working on these longer term problems as we are working on the short term solutions as well. So with that, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Banks, Denver, Rosa De Padilla, De Akauer, Dorance, Green, Remy, Ross, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you, Council President. That's all for me. Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next committee to come before council is the Workforce, Education, and Labor Committee, chaired by Councilmember Dorance. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. We have ordinance number 0346-2026 to authorize the interim director of the Department of Human Resources to enter into a service contract with Harris Ashley Jean DBA Fresh Food Perspective LLC for the dietitian service contract to authorize expenditure of $70,000 for the Employee Benefits Fund to pay for this contract and to authorize the expenditure of funds for reasonable food and non-alcoholic beverage expenses to waive competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Codes and declare an emergency. This ordinance supports a contract for Fresh Food Perspectives LLC to provide employee health and wellness programming, including virtual and in-person individual consultations, live virtual talks, seminars, and classes across numerous City of Columbus departments for evidence-based nutrition education. The Department of Human Resources contract with the dietitian service provider for over 12 years and has requested a waiver of competitive bidding provisions given the provider's familiarity with the city. Do I have my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you, Council President. All I have my committees at this time, but I want to hand it back to you because we still have the Neighborhoods Recreation and Parks Committee as well.
Yeah, I skipped that. The next committee coming before council is the Neighborhoods, Recreation, and Parks Committee, chaired by Councilmember Deakar. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
I felt so rejected. Thank you, Council President. Tonight in our committee, we have ordinance 0682-2026 to authorize the Director of the Recreation Parks Department to modify existing contracts with Rogers Cranack Architects Incorporated and Cecily Building Services LLC for the Beatty Community Center renovations project, to authorize the appropriation of $2,581,112.20 within the Recreation and Parks Permanent Improvement Fund, to authorize the transfer of $2,800,000 within the Recreation Parks Permanent Improvement Fund and voted bond fund, to authorize the amendment of the 2025 capital improvements budget, to authorize the expenditure of $3,900,000 from the Recreation Parks Permanent Improvement Fund and voted bond fund, and to declare an emergency. In August of 2024, an accidental fire broke out in the gymnasium of the Beatty Recreation Center, leading to fire and smoke damage throughout the building and forcing the department to temporarily close down this recreation center. While this unfortunate incident has caused a lack of recreational access to those in the Near East community, the department has seized this moment as an opportunity to make much-needed renovations to other areas of the center and also to evolve the center by converting it into a teen-oriented community center. Funds for this project come from both voted bond dollars and insurance payouts. The initial design contract included funds for pre-construction and long lead time equipment costs. This ordinance authorizes a planned modification to continue the construction phase of the project, as well as a planned modification to the design contract. This project is now anticipated to be completed by October 31st, 2026. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, then I move for passage. Second.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 0683-2026 to authorize and direct the Director of Recreation Parks Department to accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce in the amount of $2,500,000 for the 2026 Summer Food Service Program, to authorize the appropriation of $2,500,000 to the Recreation Parks Grant Fund, to enter into an agreement with Columbus City Schools in the amount of $2,300,000 for the preparation and delivery of meals for the Summer Food Service Program, to authorize the expenditure of $2,300,000 from the Recreation Parks Grant Fund, and to declare an emergency. The Summer Food Service Program is an annual program administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture through the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. The program provides nutritionally balanced breakfasts, lunches, and snacks to qualified children in need during the summer months at no cost to the child or family. The program expects to serve over 80,000 breakfast meals, 100,000 lunch meals, and 15,000 snacks. Thousands of children will be served through this program at 100 to 130 sites throughout the greater Columbus area. This program is vital in ensuring that those children who depend on school meals during the academic year do not become food insecure during the summer months. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage. Second.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 0748-2026 to authorize the Director of the Recreation and Parks Department to enter into advance pay grant agreements with 104 local registered 501c3 nonprofit organizations in support of summer youth programming, to authorize an expenditure in the Recreation and Parks Operating Fund, and to declare an emergency. Last week, I had the privilege of joining the mayor in announcing the recipients of the city's 2026 Summer Youth Program grants. The summertime and any time out of the school year, year-round, is a pivotal time for our children's development. It is vital that we invest in programming that meet youth where they are. Today, council is voting on nearly $7.5 million in grant awards to altogether 105 nonprofits who are boots on the ground in the community, showing up for kids in the summertime by offering enriching and safe opportunities for growth. So congratulations to all the organizations being awarded funding this year. Your investment in our youth is paving the way for a bright future in our city. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. And finally, we have ordinance 0947-2026 to authorize the Director of the Recreation Parks Department to enter into an advance pay grant agreement with Kingdom Image Arts, a 501c3 nonprofit organization in support of summer youth programming, to authorize an expenditure in the Recreation Parks Operating Fund, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance authorizes another one of our summer youth program grants. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage and request a voice vote.
Clerk, please call the roll by voice.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla. Yes. De Akauer,
Yes.
Dorance,
Yes.
Green. Yes. Remy,
Yes.
Ross,
Abstain.
President Harden.
Yes, ordinance is passed.
Thank you. That's all in my committee this evening.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next committee to come before council is the Health and Human Service and Equity Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Green. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Council President. Tonight in our Health, Human Services, and Equity Committee, we have 3 ordinances on second reading. Because they're all related, I'm just going to do a description for all of them at the beginning here. So our first ordinance is Ordinance 0897-2026 to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to execute grant agreements with numerous not-for-profit social service agencies in an amount of up to $9,775,000 for the Elevate program, to authorize the expenditure of funds prior to the establishment of the purchase order beginning January 1st, 2026 through December 31st of 2026, to authorize food and or non-alcoholic beverage expenditures as part of the standard operating cost for some of these nonprofit organizations, to authorize the advancement of funds on a predetermined schedule during the term of the agreement, to authorize the transfer between object classes in an amount up to $3,701,000 and the expenditure in an amount of up to $3,475,000 within the Hotel Motel Tax Fund, to authorize the expenditure in an amount up to $6,300,000 within the Cannabis Host Community Special Revenue Fund, and to declare an emergency. The Elevate program will provide $10 million in organizational level funding to support local tax-exempt businesses with an annual operating budget of above $250,000. These tax-exempt organizations will be eligible to receive, who are eligible to receive funding are those in which provide services and or support directly within Columbus and Franklin County to households below the ALICE threshold, or asset limited income constrained and employed households in one or more of the following areas: financial security, housing stability, homelessness, wealth building, and behavioral health and trauma. this is not a surprise to anybody. Across our community right now, there are more and more people that are struggling to get by, struggling to keep a roof over their head, struggling to keep food in the fridge, struggling to keep their utility bills paid. And we, right-sized our investments temporarily, when we received federal dollars during the COVID pandemic. And that right-sizing of our investments really showed us at that moment in time what was possible when our needs of our community were met with the adequate amount of resources to address them. Unfortunately, as we all know, those resources are long gone now. And we've talked about this pretty openly here at the city, much like nearly every other municipality across the United States right now. The loss of those federal dollars and economic hardships and policy decisions that are outside of our control are pushing our own city's budget to its breaking point right now. But unlike other municipalities across the United States that are rolling back their investments in their critical human infrastructure, we are not. We are maintaining our $10 million investment over a 3-year investment period to support the people across our community that are supporting the people across our community. And that's more important than it ever has been before, as we see historic disinvestment from every level of funding that supports our local, our social safety nets, from the Fed all the way down to local philanthropy. We're really excited. This funding cycle is going to not just provide funding for this year, but also these are 3-year funding cycles. So for the next 3 years, revenue that organizations can rely on during this period of instability. I also think it's really important to note that, I couldn't be more grateful for the work that we did during the budget process to ensure that we had a fully funded Elevate program for this budget cycle. But we also have to acknowledge that the FRAC report released recently just identified a more than $200 million gap annually that is needed to shore up our social safety nets. And so this doesn't get us there by far, but it is an important step in maintaining our commitment to our most important asset, which is our people, along with the commitment to continue to look how to bridge those gaps. One thing that's really exciting, and Director Stevens, I would love if you could talk about this. Your team really did some incredible work to implement a new process for how to bring real equity into the way that we're evaluating these applications this year. And so I would love to see if you could talk about that briefly.
Thank you, President Hardin, Chair Green, members of council. This year, applications for the Elevate grants were all peer-reviewed and ranked. So as part of the application process, each applicant nominated designated reviewers, and those reviewers were assigned to evaluate sets of applications, excluding anywhere they had a conflict. Each reviewer was asked to identify and rank their top 5 applications within each set they reviewed, and each application was reviewed approximately 20 times by different reviewers, so every application was evaluated multiple times. Those rankings made up 100% of the input used to determine the funding decisions, and while the city designed and managed the review process and ensured it was carried out as intended, it did not adjust or override any of the reviews that were completed or the recommendations.
Thank you. I think that's really important because I think that there rightfully across the sector has been a feeling of mistrust over years, that the way that we have, not we as a city specifically, but across many different layers and many different levels of funding, that it hasn't always been equitable, the same way that our city's bidding processes, for example, where it's very clearly codified in the, lowest and most qualified bidder, right? Like that's a very fair and transparent process. And so I think here one thing that is just really exciting is both being able to award these funds with better efficacy because we have experts that are reviewing the applications to really use that expertise to decide, what projects we should award, as well as in restoring that trust, that, no one in an elected position or in a government role is putting their thumb on the scale, that we're doing our due diligence as we always have been, but we're always trying to continue to figure out how to improve public trust when we're making these investments. And so I want to thank you for the work that you and your team have done around that. We do have one person here to speak tonight on this ordinance. I'd like to invite Sherome Hathaway, CEO from Epic Youth, and Kendall Bell to the podium at this time. Mr. Hathaway, thank you so much for being here tonight. The floor is yours.
President Hardin, Councilmember Green, thank you. Fellow council members, thank you all. I've been fortunate to meet many of you and know you. My name is Sherome Hathaway. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Epic Youth, and I have with me today one of our students.
Hi everyone, my name is Kendall Bell, and I'm 11th grader at Bishop Hartley High School, and I am the chair of the Epic Student Board. Period.
At Epic Youth, our vision is to create a dynamic and inclusive and transformative ecosystem where young people are equipped with the skills, confidence, and support to thrive in school, career, and in life. We serve youth across Columbus, many navigating economic hardships, exposure to violence, and limited access to opportunities. Our work is not about interruption, but a redirection, meeting young people early and guiding them towards purpose. Council members, funding the health and human service industry and other organizations such as ours through opportunities such as Elevate is not just funding, it's capacity for impact. It allows organizations like ours to strengthen so many things that feels like have been taken away, where we work to make sure that we have adequate staffing, to be able to expand programming to people in need and to serve families. And the working families are doing everything right and still falling behind, as you all may know, in some areas. And so how we address these challenges here, we at Epic Youth, we're here to support youth through developing leadership opportunities. We're building disciplines. We're building character. We're making sure that they're ready for the workforce, providing those ways. Number two, we do preventative programming for just-involved youth. We redirect paths, right, to make sure that they are ready for the next phase of life. We also are providing financial literacy and sometimes resources through programs such as our Ballers Conference and our other literacy education opportunities that we provide. But long story here, we are not just supporting youth, we are developing future workers. We are developing our leaders, and we are developing the contributors to our society. But the reality is, just as Councilmember Green has stated, just as well as our organization and other health and human service organizations, the need is greater than the current investment. Our organizations, and such as organizations in this room, are doing everything on front line. We are the boots on ground. Many of our corporate community, they depend on us to touch and feel the community. Many of you in the public sector are also use us to do the same and distribute resources to the community. And one day, I dream of being the one to not only do what we do for the community, but, expand our help in doing that. It's hard being the one who, sometimes is jumping in front doing programming and being the one with the biggest smile and making sure that students like Kendall are successful in all areas. But I go home at night and I'm doing bookkeeping and I'm processing payroll and making sure that the accounting and everything is right just to make sure that the organization is thriving. So when you think of increasing funding for the human service sector, it's not an expense, it is a long-term investment in safety, in stability, and economic growth for Columbus. When we fund prevention, mentorship, development, we reduce future costs and intervention. Kendall, would you like to say anything?
Absolutely. I think what he says about it being a long-term investment is what's so important. I do not think I would be the person I am today, the person speaking in front of you, if I did not have the foundations from Epic Youth that is provided me. Between leadership and networking and professional development, I have truly become a better person and a better worker and a better future for this country, for this city especially. And I think that is so important for Columbus area students. You know, we see that education is important, the math, the social studies, the history, but the professional development, learning how to carry yourself when you walk into a room, and learning about financial literacy is just as important, if not more. So I think that this program is really important for the Columbus area students to become better people overall. So thank you.
So thank you again for your leadership and continued support of the Health and Human Service organizations in general and for Epic Youth. We are grateful and we look forward to continuing this work together. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hathaway and Ms. Bell, for being here tonight. To your point, the healthcare and human services sector is Central Ohio's largest job sector. It's Central Ohio's fastest growing job sector as well. Investments in our human services sector are investments in economic development. And let's also be very clear that last calendar year, 2 out of every 3 of these tax-exempt businesses ended the calendar year in the red. And it's not because 2 out of every 3 of them are bad at math. This is a systems problem. And in a city where the majority of our city's general fund budget is funded through income taxes. And if our fastest growing job sector, our largest job sector in Central Ohio is near the verge of collapse, and we're not investing to figure out how to stabilize it, that has massive budgetary implications for our own city's budget, as well as for all of the people like Kendall in our community that benefit from these programs. These are investments that make dollars and cents. And we're proud to be able to stand beside you right now to continue maintaining the promises that we've made to our community, as well as are committed to figuring out how we go further so that you can maximize the possible impact for all the incredible work that you do.
Chair Green.
Yes.
If I could, first of all, I love Epic Youth. As a youth worker, I think the work that you do with young people is amazing. We partner with Epic Youth during the month of October, during Day of the Girl. We bring 400 to 500 girls together from across CCS, well, from different schools in CCS, to do a one-day camp to really expose them to careers in STEM. And you and Aaron have done an amazing job of creating a fun learning atmosphere. I mean, we brought girls from Spelman College, other students, so that, girls who didn't even know what Spelman College was now saw a career path for them. And youth work, I know, it's like, youth work is like growing an oak tree. Right? Like you are going to plant the seeds today and you're going to water it and it's going to grow well past after you can take care of it. And Kendall is an example of that. Also, you got it in your DNA, Kendall. I've known Kendall since she was a baby. She went to daycare with my daughter and now they go to high school together. And thank you for being here. It's amazing that you're here. And thank you for speaking on behalf of your peers, because I think Councilmember Green, one thing I also want to share with folks, and this is something that we talked about at Women's History Month, all of our entrepreneurs said, I got all these awards, people highlighted all the great work I did, but nobody ever invested in me.
Right.
And I think the same way that the city makes an investment, I also want to say that each one of us here today can make an investment in the thing that we care about. We can make investments in students like Kendall. We can make investments in Epic Youth. We can make investments in all of the amazing nonprofits that we have in the city, right? Even forego your coffee for a week, or, find that thing that you want to do, that little extra money that you make, because if all of us gave $10, all those $10 add up. And so I want to just talk about also the opportunity that each one of us have. We talk about being an investor in the city. You don't get to choose that, but you certainly get to choose where else you want to be an investor. And so when I see all of these amazing programs that come in, and we will do our part, but I also want to remind folks that each one of us can do our part. And so this is another amazing program that folks can invest in, that we can grow amazing oak trees and plant those seeds and continue to water them and give our young people this opportunity to discover themselves, try on different opportunities, and find a pathway for themselves. So I want to thank you for your work, but also give folks a reminder that we can all be investors in the things that we care about as well.
Thank you so much, Council Member. Do I see any other comments or questions from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you so much. And then very quickly, we have ordinance, an additional ordinance related to this funding, Ordinance 0898-2026, to authorize the Director of Development to execute a grant agreement with Alvis, Inc., a not-for-profit social service agency, in an amount of up to $75,000 for the Elevate All program, to authorize the expenditure of funds prior to the establishment of the purchase order beginning January 1st of 2026 through December 31st of 2026, to authorize the advancement of funds on a predetermined schedule during the terms of the agreement, to authorize the expenditure in an amount of up to $75,000 within the hotel motel tax fund, and to declare an emergency. Are there any other questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage by voice.
Clerk, please call the roll by voice.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance, Green,
Yes.
Remy,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
President Harden.
Passed.
And finally, we have ordinance 0899-2026 to authorize the Director of Development to execute a grant agreement with the Columbus Early Learning Center, a not-for-profit social service agency, in an amount of up to $75,000 for the Elevate All program, to authorize the expenditure of funds prior to the establishment of the purchase order beginning January 1st of 2026 through December 31st of 2026, to authorize the advancement of funds on a predetermined schedule during the term of the agreement, to authorize the expenditure in up to $75,000 within the hotel motel tax fund, and to declare an emergency. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage by voice.
Clerk, please call the roll by voice.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Remy,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
President Harden.
Abstain.
Ordinance passed.
Thank you so much. That is all for me tonight.
Is there a motion to recess for zoning? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
And in recess. To order. Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Are there any additions or corrections to the journal? Hearing none, the journal is approved. We'll now go to the zoning committee. Councilmember Dorance chairs that committee. All members serve on it. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. Before, as always, we begin tonight's agenda, allow me to briefly explain our rules. Speaking on rezonings and variances, we only hear staff presentation or ordinances that have a disapproval from recommending body, or if we have a public speaker to sign up to speak against an ordinance. We permit 3 speakers on each side, 3 proponents, 3 opponents. We ask those speakers limit their remarks to 3 minutes per standard rules of this body. All speakers on the council variance, including city staff, area commissioners, applicants, and members of the public will be sworn in before they give testimony. Representatives of the area commission are always able to speak on an ordinance and do not need to fill out a speaker slip, but we do ask you alert city staff in your intent to speak at this committee hearing. We do not have any public speakers signed up to speak on tonight's agenda. On the advice of the city attorney's office, we'll now swear in city staff. Please stand and raise your right hand and be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, nothing but the truth, that you shall answer to pay the penalty of perjury? If so, please say I do. I do. Thank you. Please have the record reflect that Brandon Carpenter from the Department of Building and Zoning Services has been sworn in. First, we have ordinance 0838-2026 to rezone 5311-5313 Renner Road, being 0.35 plus acres located in the south side of Renner Road, 275 plus feet west of Atlas Street from ARLD Apartment Residential District to L1 Limited Institutional District. Site consists of 1 undeveloped parcel, portion of a parcel, and the request for rezoning for allowed expansion of an existing natural gas regulation station located in the remainder of the parcel to the west. A concurrent council variance will be considered later on in our agenda on this proposal as well. Proposal is approved from City Staff Development Commission and the Far West Side Area Commission. Do my colleagues have questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Moving on to variances, we have ordinance 0815-2026, granted variance provisions, section 3332.035, R3 Residential District, 3312.49C, require parking Columbia City Codes for property located 1107 East Mountain Street to allow a daycare center to reduce required parking in the R3 Residential District. Site is developed with a former religious facility, and the requested council variance will allow the existing building to be repurposed as a daycare center. A council variance is required because the current zoning district only allows daycare centers when they are accessory to a school or religious facility use. Proposal is approved from city staff and the Near East Area Commission. I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Okay, next move to adopt the findings of staff, the findings of council.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Finally move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 0818-2026, granted variance provisions of section 3332.02, rural district, and 3321.05B2 vision clearance, and 3332.06 R rural area district requirements of Columbia City Codes for property located at 5751 Sovereign Street to allow 2-unit dwelling, reduce development standards in the R rural district. Site consists of 2 parcels, one developed as a single-unit dwelling, the other undeveloped. Requested council variance will allow a 2-unit dwelling on an undeveloped parcel. Council variance is required because the current zoning district does not allow 2-unit dwellings. A variance to reduce vision clearance and lot area also included in the request. Proposal approved by city staff and the Northwest Civic Association. Our first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Next move to adopt the findings of staff, the findings of council.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Finally move for passage.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 0839-2026 to grant a variance provisions, section 3349.04 AC area, height area, yard regulations, Columbia City Codes for property located at 5311-5313 Runner Road to reduce required development standards in the LI Limited Institutional District and revoke ordinance number 2712-92 passed July 11, 1993, and ordinance number 0063-2024 passed January 8th of 2024. This is a concurrent variance to rezoning we heard earlier in tonight's agenda. The requested variance will allow reduced development standards for expansion of an existing natural gas regulation station. Proposal is approved from city staff and the Far West Area Commission. Our first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Next, move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council.
Banks, Timber, Rosa de Padilla, de Alcala, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Finally, move for passage.
Banks, Timber, Rosa de Padilla, de Alcala, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Finally, we have ordinance 0841-2026 regarding variance provisions of section 3353.03 permitted use of the Columbus City Coast for property located at 2515 Lockbourne Road to allow accessory storage in the C2 commercial district. Site consists of one parcel developed with a charitable organization. The requested council variance will allow 3 8 feet by 40 feet shipping containers to be used for accessory storage at the rear of the site. Council variance is required because storage is not allowed in use in that current zoning district. Proposal is approved by city staff and the Far South Columbus Area Commission. I first move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Banks, Timber, Rosa de Padilla, de Alcala, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Next, I move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council.
Banks, Timber, Rosa de Padilla, de Alcala, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. Next, move to amend to emergency.
Banks, Timber, Rosa de Padilla, de Alcala, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Thank you. And finally, move for passage as amended.
Banks, Timber, Rosa de Padilla, de Alcala, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
And Council President, that's all we have tonight's zoning agenda.
Banks, Timber, Rosa de Padilla, de Alcala, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden. Padilla, Day, Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
We are in meeting number 15. The next committee to come before council is the Public Safety Committee. Councilmember Remy chairs that committee. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Council President. Tonight in Public Safety and Criminal Justice, I have 8 ordinances on second read. So first is 251, 2026, to authorize the Director of Public Safety on behalf of the Division of Support Services to enter into a new contract for maintenance with Cincinnati Bell, Inc., doing business as Agile Network Builders, LLC, for network connectivity between the city's communication towers and the dispatching centers, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code, and to authorize an expenditure of $141,360 from the general fund. This ordinance authorizes a maintenance contract with Cincinnati Bell, also known as Agile Network Builders, to maintain network connectivity between the city's communication towers and dispatch centers. This leased circuit system links radio sites and dispatch centers to the state of Ohio's primary radio system. A bid waiver is requested as Cincinnati Bell and Agile Network Builders is the established provider for the network connections required to interface with the state of Ohio MARCS system, utilizing Agile, who also provides service directly to Marks, ensures the city operates on a shared compatible network. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Day, Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Next, I have 366, 2026, to authorize the appropriation of $2,525,931.90 from the unappropriated balance of the Law Enforcement Contraband Seizure Fund to the Division of Police to fund travel and training needs and purchase equipment, supplies, and services, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance appropriates funds from the unappropriated balance of the federal and state law enforcement contraband seizure fund for the Division of Police. Funds are derived from seized and forfeited property and are restricted to law enforcement purposes as specified in Ordinance 1850-85. Emergency action is requested to ensure funds are immediately available for travel, training, license renewals, and maintenance and computer services necessary to support the continued operation of the Division of Police. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Day, Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Next is 751, 2026, to authorize the Director of Public Safety to enter into contract with LexisNexis Risk Solutions, FL Inc., for access to the Accurant investigative database, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code, to authorize the expenditure of $171,500 from the Law Enforcement Contraband Seizure Fund, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance authorizes a contract between LexisNexis Risk Solutions, FL, for continued access to the Accurant investigative database, which provides personnel with efficient access to criminal records across Ohio and nationwide. A bid waiver is requested as Accurant is the only database of its scope and also integrates with the city's Premier One system. Emergency action is also requested to ensure uninterrupted access to this criminal investigative tool for the Division of Police. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Day, Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Next, I have 766, 2026, to authorize the Director of the Department of Public Safety on behalf of the Division of Fire to enter into preventative maintenance agreements with the Stryker Sales Corporation, LLC, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code, to authorize the contract as multi-year and renewable, to authorize the expenditure of $31,688 from the general fund for year one, and to declare an emergency. The ordinance authorizes a multi-year renewable preventative maintenance and repair contract with Stryker Sales Corporation, LLC, for Lucas compression devices and stair chairs used in emergency medical services. A bid waiver is requested as Stryker is the sole distributor of the proprietary equipment. The Division of Fire will be purchasing wholesale directly from Stryker for cost savings, whereas a bid would result in the division purchasing the same equipment through a distributor. Emergency action is requested to keep equipment in proper working order and ensure EMS operations continue at peak levels without interruption. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Day, Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Next is 769, 2026, to authorize the Director of Finance and Management and Director of Public Safety on behalf of the Division of Fire to enter into contracts for the purchase of consumable supplies and preventative maintenance, respectively, with Stryker Sales Corporation for Stryker Power load cots and bariatric cots for use in daily emergency services and emergency medical services, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code, Chapter 329, to authorize the expenditure of $208,473.60 from the general fund and to declare an emergency. This ordinance authorized contracts with Stryker Sales Corporation for consumable supplies and preventative maintenance of Stryker load cots and bariatric cots used in EMS operations. As bid waiver is requested, as Stryker is the sole distributor of the proprietary equipment. Emergency action is requested to keep supplies stocked at adequate levels, avoid potential supply chain issues, and ensure EMS equipment is maintained and operating at peak levels. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Next is 842, 2026, to authorize the Director of Public Safety on behalf of the Division of Fire to enter into a contract with issue a purchase order to Phoenix Safety Outfitters, LLC, for the alteration and repair of the Division of Fire's turnout gear, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code, to authorize the expenditure of $100,000 for the general fund, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance authorized a contract with Fire Acquisition Company doing business as Phoenix Safety Outfitters for the alteration and repair of Division of Fire turnout gear. Fire Acquisition Company also provides services to ensure compliance with NFPA standards for cleaning and repairs. A bid waiver is necessary as timely repair and customization of the division's turnout gear is vital to the safety of division personnel. Emergency action is requested to ensure uninterrupted service and protection for Division of Fire personnel. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Next is 875, 2026, to authorize and direct the Director of Department of Public Safety to pay the city's proportionate share of operational and administrative support activities of the Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security Program, including the mass notification system and outdoor warning siren system fees, to authorize the expenditure of $1,020,237.44 from the general fund and to declare an emergency. This ordinance authorized the City of Columbus' share of funding for the Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security Program. The program manages the county's outdoor warning sirens and mass notification system, as well as supports disaster planning, public education, and emergency exercise. Emergency action is requested to pay an outstanding invoice and avoid any disruption to these services. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Next is 908, 2026, to authorize and direct the Director of the Department of Public Safety to modify and extend the contract with Change Healthcare Technology Enabled Services, LLC, for EMS billing collections and reporting services from April 1st, 2026 to May 31st, 2026, to authorize the expenditure of $200,000 from the general fund and to declare an emergency. The ordinance modifies and extends the current EMS billing collection and reporting contract with Change Healthcare Technology Enabled Services, LLC, through May 31st, 2026. The modification limits the scope of services to collection of outstanding receivables only, ensuring proper closeout of accounts during the transition to a new vendor. A bid waiver is requested as Change Healthcare Technology Services is the current provider and continuity of services necessary to complete collection of outstanding EMS receivables. Emergency action is requested to ensure uninterrupted collection services through the transition period to a new vendor. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you very much. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Final committee coming before council is the Housing and Homelessness Committee. Committee is chaired by Councilmember Ross, Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. We just have one ordinance on second read this evening. It is ordinance number 0777-2026 to authorize the Director of Development to enter into a grant agreement with National Church Residencies for the new construction of Clover Glen 2 in an amount up to $2,300,000 with a total commitment to the project of $4,300,000 to authorize the expenditure of up to $2,300,000 from the Affordable Housing Bond Fund and to declare an emergency. The new construction of Clover Glen 2 is a 95-unit community for seniors aged 55 plus located at 100 Galloway Road in Columbus, Ohio. Clover Glen 2 serves a unique and growing aging low-income population in Ohio. It is a senior housing community that will offer 95 one-bedroom units with all units affordable to residents at or below 60% AMI. This project will have an on-site service coordinator, and residents will have access to services that promote health, wellness, and quality of life to prolong independent living for individuals with varying levels of health. Of particular note, the property is within walking distance from the Prairie Township Community Center, which offers a pool, fitness center, walking path, and seasonal farmers market, in addition to hosting programming specifically for seniors, including adult education opportunities. Residents will also have walking access to dental care, eye care, grocery shopping, park with walking trail, place of worship, pharmacy, dining, salon, bank, and bus service. The Clover Glen 2 property is planning to close, or National Church Residencies is planning to close on the Clover Glen 2 construction and on the financing deal for Clover Glen 2 in April of 2026 and begin construction soon after. Construction is expected to last 18 months, finishing in the fall of 2027. Only question I have for Director Stevens is why we are passing as an emergency.
President Harden, Chair Ross, members of council, we are requesting emergency action to expedite the closing of the construction loan for the developer.
Thank you. No questions or comments from my colleague. I move for passage.
You have a speaker.
Oh, one speaker. Oh, Mr. Wilkins is coming to speak, and I believe he is speaking in support of this ordinance. Thank you for coming to council.
Arlington Avenue, been in my house for 19 years. First of all, let me just say again, this thing here is a great idea, but I think it needs to be more money, $4.5 million and 76 cents. I know a lot of time we're leaving out the disability people in wheelchairs and stuff like that, and also the hearing impaired. And so to see this thing to come with elderly population and also not affordable for hearing impaired or the disability and blind folks. So I just want to know, when did this got started, if it's located on the bus line, or everything is just in walking distance for people that's walking with walkers or some type of cane accessibility and things like that for wheelchair accessibility. And so if we are looking at this, is these apartments or whatever this is going to be, is it all on one level or based on their future needs? So again, I'd just like to have more clarification. What is the timeline of this? What was phase one look like? I don't know what was phase one look like. I know we are passing this, but this is a great idea, but I would like to see more of this in certain parts of the Columbus, Ohio area. If this is in, I think it's in Perry Township or something like what you said, I'm not for sure. So I'd just like to have more clarification on this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkins. If you'd like to stay up, Director Stevens will address some of your questions now.
Thank you, Chair Ross. I don't have all the details. They will be breaking ground early summer, and we'll follow up. Team will follow up with you if some of the other answer some of the other questions.
Is there a motion to? Was there already a second? Wasn't there?
We need a second for her.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Passed. See no further business coming for council. Is there a motion to adjourn? Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, de Akauer, Dorance Green, Remy Ross, President Harden.
Meeting is adjourned. Ms. Wilkins, you can come back up.